Thursday Thoughts now on the SDH Network. John, hear you there. Thanks for dropping by, as you always do. It is hour number 2 is where we tour the planet. Hopefully, first off, we'll get to see if our buddy Nino Torres from GOLTV has made it back from the beach. And we will get into the discussions with him about what's on his mind. One of the topics that we do need to discuss, which will kind of blend from hour 1 to hour 2, is what in the bleep is going on at Boa Vista and why they're still allowed to function the way that they are. Had a transfer go down in Major League Soccer that didn't go down. So basically, when is a transfer not a transfer? When you're involved with Boa Vista. So we'll get into that in hour 1. We'll talk about it in hour 2 with the context that we get with our buddy Nino Torres from GOLTV. Also in hour number 2, it's Thursdays with Niko Moreno from Pulso Sports and Sounder at Heart. He is going to break down everything from the Pacific perspective when it comes to Major League Soccer. We'll go over transfers with him. We'll go over standings, juice boxes, all the stuff. The week that was leading into the week that will be. Hour number 1, we're going to kind of play catch up a little bit. We'll go over all the transfers that happened yesterday that beat the deadline, and one of them involving Atlanta United. So we'll discuss what happened there. And we'll go over all of the transfers that made it through the deadline. I know that there was some talk of some others, and they didn't make it. And we'll find out what the rundown is with all the transactions that happened yesterday, and we'll go from there. In hour 1, we've got to talk about the Twos, and they're getting the extra point last night with the penalty kick shootout win over Carolina Core. It was had a lead, came back, PKs, and you win in PKs. But we'll get into that. If you missed it, you can catch the Twos review that was posted late last night. Not like overnight, like when you're sleeping or anything at like 3 o'clock in the morning. But after the match was over, Jarrett and Maddie caught up with Steve Cook and Nick Sesak. We've got your highlights with Jason, and we get you ready through the rest of the Eastern Conference. Quick turn for Atlanta United 2 as they work their way to Northern Kentucky University. They fly into CVG, and I imagine it's not that big a drive. You don't have to cross the river. You stay in Kentucky. So they're going to take on FC Cincinnati 2 on Sunday afternoon, and we'll have the call for you here on the network. Speaking of calls on the network, once again, it was a busy night where on the mothership you had Atlanta United 2 and Carolina Core. On the Deuce, we had high school action, and it was Atlanta Classical Academy taking on Lincoln County. Lincoln County loses on the boys' side 5-3, and ACA advances, and they'll take on Montgomery County. Montgomery County will now travel from Mount Vernon next week, and they will come up to, I imagine, Silverbacks Park, and we'll have the action for you. In the high school ranks today, we are at Oconee County. Girls side, Johnson, Gainesville, and Oconee County, and that is going to be a little before 6 o'clock on the kickoff there. It'll be on the mothership. I'll be up there for that one, and that'll be the last match that we have here in this week as we get you ready for the second round of the playoffs and the round of 32, or the round of 16, and we'll let you know where we're going to be next week. We're kind of scouting out already as to where we're thinking. And we've got some places that we've got earmarked, and so we'll let you know next week. But our last match this week in the playoffs is going to be at Oconee County, Johnson, Gainesville, Oconee County girls, 6 o'clock. A little before then, we're going to start it here on the network at soccerdownhere.mixler.com and on the Mixler app, as well as soccerdownhere.net. You click the Listen tab. You'll see like a flashing light, and then you hit the Listen tab, and you'll know which network is up and running, whether it's the Mothership or the Deuce. And you can hit click and you hit listen. You go through it there, and you can listen to it that way as well. So it'll be a chance to catch up with our friends in Watkinsville up at Oconee County. Caught up with Judson Hamby and Kurt Miller yesterday. And so it'll be, once again, our last matchup in the first week. But as he holds up his index finger, Soccer's in Session is going to join you at noon here on the network. Planned guests, Brian Lawson, the head coach at Jeff Davis, on the boys and girls side. He'll catch up with us right out of the blocks. Heather Richardson, the girls coach at Social Circle, joining us at 12:20. Jeremy Moore, the boys and girls coach at Toombs County, is going to join us at 12:45. So we'll weave in all your brackets and all your matchups and all your finals from yesterday. One match got postponed because of weather, and it was the Johns Creek match, Sequoia and Johns Creek. And that is at 6 o'clock up at Johns Creek if you're out and about near Johns Creek, and then that way you can catch that match. But that was the one match that I can think of off the top of my head that got pushed back because of weather yesterday. pushed back to today. So it's a very, very busy day across the board, whether we're talking high school, whether we're talking news, whether we're talking Atlanta United, whether we're talking Major League Soccer, it's all on the board. So whatever's on your mind this morning, drop in here on the SDH Network and SDH AM. So let's get into opening kickoff, brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Morning forecard. Thanks for dropping in as always. And let's see, the QR code, once I scan down for it, right here. So once I figured out where to load it, it doesn't turn into that much of a challenge. I just have to remember to set everything back to where it was. That's your QR code for our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. You hit that QR code, you go into Kickoff Coffee, you start your day there, and then when you check out, you can check out by using the code SOCCER down here 15. You get 15% off your purchase. They, in turn, take 10%, reinvest it in the youth games, youth initiatives, brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Morning, Ricky. Now, yesterday was trade deadline day for Major League Soccer, at least in this particular cycle. And then you have the summer window coming up in just a little bit. But the extended window to begin the season for Major League Soccer was yesterday, and there were a lot of deals, whether it was loan deals or swaps or what have you. And there was a lot of talk as well. So the biggest news here locally, Xande Silva traded to all caps. And that news broke last night during the Twos match. And so Jason, Maddie, and Jarrett were dealing with Atlanta United 2 and Carolina Core, and they were also dealing with a transaction involving Xande Silva and St. Louis City SC. So the rundown of this deal, and there's a handful of moving parts, and so here's how it breaks down. Atlanta United gets up to $250,000 in GAM from all caps and the close of the primary transfer window. Guaranteed $100,000 this year and up to $150,000 next year based on incentives as a part of the deal. Atlanta will retain Silva's special discovery tag, and St. Louis is going to retain Silva's full 2025 salary budget charge. So basically, Atlanta United sends Xande Silva to St. Louis. St. Louis is responsible for all the dollars and the direct deposit every 2 weeks for Xande Silva. Then it's also attached where it is X amount of dollars of GAM in year one, then up to X amount in year two if performance-based incentives are met. Now, when it was announced that the special discovery tag was laid out for Xande Silva, that sent a lot of folks scurrying and going, what? Does this mean like Joe Bellingham or Jude Bellingham or Mbappe or whatever, whoever doesn't already have dibs on an individual? So the definition of special discovery players and MLS roster regs, according to the league, is this. You have all of these, you have all of the slots, all of the primary windows, player categories. You have domestics, homegrown internationals, homegrowns, off-roster homegrowns, Generation Adidas, roster discovery paths, DPs, and literally this is a full page of a breakdown of everything over at MLSsoccer.com. Young DPs, U22s, U22 budget charges, and special discovery players. So you had to go down halfway into the discussion to find out what exactly a special discovery player is. So here's a special discovery player definition according to Major League Soccer. In general, the total amount of the acquisition cost of a player is charged against the salary budget in the year in which it is paid. For for one player on a club's roster, the special discovery player, a club can amortize the total amount of acquisition costs up to $500,000 over the term of a player's contract, including option years, or over the term of the first and second contract, so long as the second contract is signed prior to the expiration of the first. So it can be treated kind of like what the Premier League used to do. where if you signed a player to a massive – it was a massive fee to sign a player. Let's say the example, for lack of a better one, is Mykhailo Mudryk over at Chelsea coming over from Shakhtar. $64 million charge, 8 years for Mudryk. So what Chelsea was able to do was take that and average it over the run of the entire deal, so it only went $8 million against them each and every year. Same premise here with special discovery. You can amortize the total amount of the acquisition cost over the term of the deal. So you're not hit with the full $500,000. Or if you sign the player to a second contract, you can continue to average it out even further. So let's just say, for the record, $500,000 is up to $500,000. Sign player to a 4-year deal or 4 years worth of deals. It only cuts against your cap $125,000 a season. So that's the special discovery player option that was held by Atlanta United in the deal with Xande Silva. A club may choose to amortize the acquisition costs evenly or in unequal installments. If the club chooses unequal installments, no less than 10% of the amortized acquisition cost may be captured in any given league year of the player's contract. I would imagine that unless you are really up against it in the cap, see Messi and Friends, if you had a special DP or a special discovery player, that you could just sit there, average it out. It's easy math. You sit there and you figure it out, and you'll figure it out later. But you do have the option of averaging it out over a 4-year period, over X number of years involved in the contract or in signing the second contract, and averaging it out even further. But you have the option of an unequal installment, but you can only do 10% as your least amount of dollar sign and amortization. So let's take the $500,000 deal over 4. If you chose uneven, you only could go as low as $50,000 in one season when it came to averaging out your dollars, and then the other 450 would be amortized evenly at 150 per. So stuff like that. If a special discovery player leaves MLS prior to the expiration of the term of his contract, any remaining unamortized acquisition costs would be charged immediately to a club's salary budget. If a transfer fee is received for the player, any unamortized acquisition costs, including the acquisition cost charged to the club's salary budget during the MLS season such transfer occurs, may be recouped prior to any sharing arrangement with the league. Any guaranteed comp due to the player will continue to be charged to a club salary budget. Player has to be 27 years old or younger than the age of 27 during the league year under consideration. Age of the player is determined by the year, not the date of the birth of the player. There may be no more than one special discovery player per number of clubs in the league. So 30 special discovery players across the league in 2025. Club may have more than one special discovery player on its senior roster at any given time if the club received the additional players via trade. However, the club trading the special discovery player may not sign a new special discovery player until the traded special discovery player's original contract expires. So in this case, if Atlanta wanted to sign another special discovery player, they couldn't do so until the Xande Silva deal expires, the original contract that he had with Atlanta, now that he's with St. Louis. St. Louis part doesn't matter. So when Xande Silva's contract expires, that's the only time that Atlanta United could chase after yet another special discovery player if we're reading these rules correctly. So player's original contract expires, player's contract is terminated, or all the amortized acquisition costs are accounted for in the salary budget charge. TAM may be used on a special discovery player if he qualifies. And you can pick up, so that's where the special discovery player is in the eyes of Major League Soccer. So that was retained by Atlanta United in this deal to send Xande Silva to all caps. Silva was on loan August 2 of 2023 before they exercised the transfer option following offseason. 40 career appearances, 27 matches, 4+7, 1 assist in 7 appearances this year. So once again, Atlanta United up to $250,000 in GAM from all caps in exchange for Shonde Silva as a part of the deal. Retaining Silva's special discovery tag, St. Louis retains Silva's full salary budget charge. So that's a good financial move for Atlanta United in moving over Shonde Silva to all caps as a part of what happened yesterday in player transfers, the tail end of the transfer window. That's your opening kickoff, brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Once again, your QR code. Yeah. Sorry, Alex. Hang on just a second. Don't make me laugh because I swallowed a dandelion yesterday at Silverbacks Park. That's where that's coming from. That's your QR code from our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Hit that QR code, and then what you are able to do is go straight to Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Then, on your way out the door, use the code SoccerDownHere15. You get 15% off your purchase. They, in turn, take 10% reinvest at youth games, youth initiatives, Kickoff Coffee, and kickoffcoffeeco.com. There you go. All right. So I know. Alex is like, I thought that there would not be any math. I'm just reading. So mercifully, it's no math on our part. It's math on Major League Soccer's part. But the bottom line is, Shonde Silva, I know, Pars, they don't count as a salad. I know. It was dinner time. Literally, I was in the middle of a call yesterday with ACA in Lincoln County, and the way that Silverbacks Park is catty-cornered to the freeway, you have a lot of, sort of, God, you've got the largest dandelion flowers that come, if the wind hits a certain way, it just comes onto the field from that particular section where I was standing. And I'm in the middle of a call and then vacuumed right in. And so for those of you that put up with the wildness that was getting a Wi-Fi signal out of Silverbacks Park yesterday, that was what you were hearing. So Alex, dandelion greens are used in salad. No wonder I don't eat salads. So basically the bottom line is this. Shonde Silva moves from Atlanta United to all caps. All caps keeps the budget charge. It's like y'all get the salary now. That's on your number. But Atlanta United gets GAM in the deal, conditional GAM next year with performance-based incentives, and they also get to keep the special discovery player element attached to their roster. But once again, not until Shonde's contract is over with all caps do they get to kick the special discovery player element back into any kind of player discovery. So keep an eye on that. Maybe, like it would have been like maybe Thomas Mueller if there wasn't any other individual or club that was interested in Thomas Mueller. Mueller might be well, no, wait a second. 27, I think, was, as I sit here and look at if I'm looking at the things, if I'm looking at all, then you're looking at, you had it, Nelson, and you lost it. Okay, so here we go. The age numbers were 27 years old must be 27 years old or younger. So 27 years old or younger. So Joe Bellingham would be the example. So Joe Bellingham during the league year under consideration to be a special designated player. So 27 or younger. So that's what you're hunting for in the pickup for Shonde Silva or someone else attached. So there you go. So they get to keep the special discovery player designation. They get to get rid of the salary, and that goes to St. Louis's books. They get up to $250,000 in GAM, conditional, set number this year, conditional next year. So it's a good financial move for Atlanta United, and it frees up some work for folks like Cayman Togashi et al. And so we'll see how it's administered. Luke Brennan up front. And so we'll see how Ronnie Dyla works with the folks on hand now that Shonde Silva is in St. Louis. Okay. So the rest of the moves yesterday that went down on deadline day. See, now this is where we need to have, if it was as busy as it traditionally could be, this is where we need to come back on and have shows and things, but we'd be filling a lot of space. Anyway, yesterday, we mentioned that Houston signed forward to Yossi Olasanya, and that was going to be something that was picked up from St. Mirren under contract through 26, club options 27 and 28. Pat Onstad is excited. He needs offense. He got Olasanya from St. Mirren Onstad, valuable depth at the forward position, especially as we enter the busiest stretch of the season. And they welcome to Yossi and look forward to his contributions on and off the field. 22-6 on 105 appearances across Stinson, Scotland with St. Mirren and Arbroath, as well as English clubs AFC Wimbledon, go Dons, Middlesbrough, and Billericay Town. He joins Ponce on the Dynamo's number 9 depth chart. Latest attack-minded signing after they picked up Czech international Andre Linger as a DP. Linger made the team of the week this week in Major League Soccer. So Olasany comes over from St. Mirren to hang out in Houston. Charlotte has added Jaquil Marshall-Ruddy on loan from CF Montreal for $100,000 in GAM. So Charlotte gets a wingback in Jaquil Marshall-Ruddy. Those of you might remember Ruddy from his time in Toronto, probably more than his time in Montreal, where he was a pain in the butt. Remainder of the 2025 season, Marshall-Ruddy is on loan to Charlotte from Montreal. 1+5 in 88 regular season matches. TFC's youngest ever signing at age 15, traded last August to Montreal. 2021 at age 16, youngest ever call-up in Canadian history, still waiting his senior debut. And so Jaquil Marshall-Ruddy moves over on loan from CF Montreal. Sporting Kansas City picked up Santi Munoz from Santos Laguna. Deal lasts through the remainder of the 25 season. Sporting have a purchase option. Munoz 6-6 in 81 matches for Santos, previously loaned to Newcastle United, scoring once in 9 matches for the U21s. U.S.-born Mexican Youth International, featured prominently at the 2019 U17 World Cup, participated in CONCACAF Men's Olympic qualifiers. And so now Munoz adds to the attack with Joveljic and Shallowy, who have 9 goals there as well. So also on the board, we mentioned DeJuan Jones yesterday going to San Jose. Who didn't go to San Jose? San Jose, DeJuan Jones, Columbus Crew. That one got picked up. And that one happened as well. One of the other ones that we need to keep an eye on, just for the sake of understanding that, there was a transaction. You feel like the Steve Martin character in The Jerk. The new phone books are here. The new phone books are here. Robert Taylor goes from Messi and Friends to Austin for up to $750,000 in GAM. Austin picks up Robert Taylor up to $750 in GAM. Breakdown $450 this year. 250 in 26, 50 in conditional 27. 4th season in Major League Soccer after joining from SK Brann, 18-18 and 116 comps for the Herons, 2 goals and 34 caps for Finland. So now, and here's how it was presented. This is how the article was written up. In Austin, Taylor adds depth alongside DP forwards Brandon Vasquez, Mirto Uzuni, and Osman Bukhari, a trio that arrived over the past 2 transfer windows for reportedly around $30 million combined. Then, the hook. So far this year, Austin have scored just 7 goals in 9 matches. However, they're second in the Western Conference with 16 points with a record of 5-3-1. So shall we? Let's go and find out off the top of our head, just who has scored for Austin FC, other than the answer being not much. So right now, Austin at 16 points at 5-3-1. Literally, they've scored 7 goals. 7 goals in their first 9 matches, but they've only given up 8. And so you're 3-1-1 at home doing what you need to do. So let's check your stats. All of that money that was spent on transfers, Uzuni, Bukhari, and Vasquez. Here's the layout. You have 6 different goal scorers for you this year in Austin, Texas. We'll probably get into this with Niko in hour number 2. Brandon Vasquez has 2 of those on 29 shots. 29 shots for Brandon Vasquez this year. 11 of them on target, 2 in the back of the net. Guilherme Biro, Danny Pereira, John Gallagher, Osman Bukhari, and Mirto Uzuni. Those are your other goal scorers. OG, I believe, is not a goal scorer in Austin. 6 goal scorers, 7 goals. Brandon Vasquez is the only one that has more than 1. You have gotten bupkis, I believe, is the official medical term, from all of the money that you have invested in all of the offense that you hope to get. You get none. Well, you get some. You just don't get a lot so far. So, because of this, you now end up with spending $700,000 in GAMs, $750, conditional, $450 this year, to bring in Robert Taylor from Messi and Friends. The old adage, throw money at the problem. I will be intrigued to see how Niko Estevez integrates Robert Taylor into the lineup. In the Eastern Conference, we've seen that Robert Taylor can be a bit of a pain in the butt sometimes when it comes to having to defend him. There are other times where he has not shown up on the score sheet, and he has become an issue when it comes to being a little overzealous when it comes to fouling individuals. It is not a consistent thing. It's just things that we've seen with Robert Taylor. So what Austin has done, since Brandon Vasquez has 2 goals and he's your leading scorer going after match week 9, 7 goals, 9 matches, Brandon Vasquez has 2. You add Mirto Uzuni and Oscar Bukhari, they have 2. $30 million spent, 4 of your 7 goals. So Austin's like, sure, we'll spend more money, but it's GAM. And so what this does is this frees up individuals to come in, because if my math is correct, this now means that the additional $450,000, this puts them close to $3.6 million in available GAM right now. So let's just say, shall we? Once the season is over in England, there is a particular player who is available or who will become available. I don't know if you've heard of him. His name is Kevin De Bruyne. I have no intel that is going to lend itself to this immediate connection, but we could connect some dots. Messi and Friends make this move with Robert Taylor, sending him to Austin. You get another $450,000. You've got over $3.6 million in GAM at the moment. So, say when the summer window opens, you've got something on your mind. Hey, Messi and Friends, as you look internally or stare at yourself in the mirror, kind of like mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? It's me, Messi and Friends. So you get to that second transfer window, and you're going, we're missing something here. We're missing something. So come July 24th, and you have from July 24th till August 21st. Just saying. So come July 24th, maybe, just thinking perhaps, as we think out loud and workshop this, let's just say you've got $3.6 million in AM, and there's a player whose season should be over and his time in the Club World Cup should be over. If you knock on somebody's door who negotiates his own deals, Kevin, perhaps for half a season, you dump all of that AM in that particular gentleman's lap, and then you figure out what the deal's going to be later for next year and beyond. So if you sign him for a 2.5, reminiscent of another individual that you signed for a 2.5, just saying. Like I said, I have no intel that is leaning in that direction. But as we always say, follow the money. $3.6 million in AM. Robert Taylor's gone away. Your younger players can fill in those slots. Taylor wasn't getting a whole lot of minutes. So if we were to look at literally the minutes that Robert Taylor has spent on the field this year for Messi and friends, just in domestic competitions. So right now, 8 matches played, 18 points. You're a point behind. So let's just see what Robert Taylor's numbers are. 4 matches played, 2 starts. 1 goal, 2 starts, 2 subs, just under 200 minutes. And an XG of 1.36. By the way, he's 3rd on the team in XG, if you believe in those kinds of things. Messi, Suarez, Robert Taylor. That's your XG report for Messi and friends. So if you were that confident in the individuals that you have, that you can ship Robert Taylor to Austin, and you can get as much as $750,000 in AM to do it, you're going to do it. Because, once again, if you're Raul Sanlehi et al. Inside the offices of Messi and friends, you can add it up. You can bring in De Bruyne or another high-priced individual for that half of a season with that AM that you have on hand. But it does make you wonder if, say, at midnight on Thursday, July 24th, is it going to be like free agency in the National Football League where you sit there and the agent's kind of hanging out right there in a car on the curb? Kevin De Bruyne's in whatever house he's in at the time, pulls back the shades, kind of looks outside, tucks the shades back in. If somebody's there inside his particular abode with him, hey, did you see that? Is that carpet out there for a long time? And you widen it again one more time. You sit there and you look out. The car hadn't moved. Been a couple of hours. Put the shade back. Yeah, they've been out there for a while. Ain't nothing happening. Midnight. Kevin. What? I'm trying to sleep. We'd like to sign you to this contract. And it's like you don't even walk into his house. You sit there and you just shove a contract in a pen. At 12:01. Like I said, morning, David. Like I said, I have no intel, but this is just my gut. Messi and friends bring in Kevin De Bruyne like instant one of the secondary window in late July. For that stretch run and whatever competitions they still may be engaged in. Hey, look at us. And then Kevin De Bruyne comes in to hang out and then be an academy instructor. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. How'd you do? So, like I said, that's just my thought on one deal that happened yesterday involving Robert Taylor. Taylor out and nobody in yet. There was also a discussion yesterday about possibly having Julian Gressel make his way to Minnesota. Folks were interested, parties were interested, and there ended up being nothing to shut the door on that one. That one did not get locked down by the time the window closed. So, Transfer Tracker says no. We mentioned Noel Buck going from New England to the Revs, Willie Agata to Sporting Kansas City to RSL, which was another one that was really interesting. Up to $850,000 in GAM and a sell-on percentage. Sporting once again $500 in GAM this year, $350 in conditional if Agata re-signs. They also get a sell-on percentage. 4th season in Major League Soccer, 21-5 in 64 matches. Arrived from Israeli side Hapoel Jerusalem. And so now that helps out the scoring issues that RSL has had after they traded Chicho Arango. So you now have Diego Luna, who, by the way, we mentioned reffing down here. We mentioned reffing down here. Diego Luna got his red card rescinded, as we talked about on Monday. And I think, as we were discussing, there is no real definitive angle to determine. And the one angle that we see from Diego Luna and Luca Petretta is Petretta has his back to the camera. He's laying on the ground. So you don't know what's going on as Diego Luna is facing Petretta. You don't know. And so you don't know what's happening below the jersey line. So with the evidence being inconclusive, I would imagine in looking at things in review that was why it was rescinded. Returning to the Agata portion of the program, joins Diego Luna, Diogo Gonçalves, and Dominic Marchuk as the parts of the attack that Willie Agata now joins. So once again, after getting Joveljic being a DP, and then you have, as Alex refers to him, Newcastle United Football Club legend Santi Munoz and Mason Toy having the depth, kind of meant that Agata was expendable, and so he ends up going to RSL. Also, Frankie Amaya joins LAFC on loan from Toluca, on loan for the remainder of the 25 campaign. 9+7 and 131 matches with FC Cincinnati and Red Bulls. Picked number 1 overall in the 2019 Super Draft before trading him to Red Bulls in 21. Joined Toluca in June of 24. New York transferred him for reportedly around $4 million, contributed 2 assists in 18 matches for Deportivo Toluca. 2 paragraphs worth of quotes. LAFC now has a midfield of Mark Delgado. Remember, he's marked now. Mark Delgado, Timothy Tillman, Igor Jesus, Odin Thiago Holm, and now Amaya on the race to have Steve Cherundolo have something in the trophy case before the end of the season, before he departs to head back to Germany. So that was the other. I think those are the other ones that are there when it comes to all the transactions that might have made it under the wire yesterday. But once again, you're looking at, just to recap, DC United recalling Christian Fletcher from Nottingham Forest, Oscar Verhoeven to San Diego on loan from San Jose, Omir Fernandez to Portland from Colorado, DeJuan Jones from Columbus to San Jose, Jaquil Marshall-Ruddy on loan Charlotte from CF Montreal, Olasanya from St. Mirren to Houston, Noel Buck from the Revs to San Jose, Frankie Amaya on loan to LAFC from Toluca, Willie Agata from Sporting to RSL, Robert Taylor, which I think, short of Xande Silva, is probably the biggest deal of the day, just because it sets up something that, what is it setting up? And then Xande Silva, obviously locally the biggest deal of the day, going from Atlanta to all caps. But Atlanta keeping a lot of the salary mechanisms in place, so they're not affected when it comes to their cap. So that's the day that happened yesterday involving Major League Soccer and your transfers. Obviously, like I said, the biggest, the most palace intrigue for a couple of different reasons is Taylor heading to Austin. Can he help you score goals? I don't know. At this rate, you're hoping that he does. So you have that transaction to hopefully help out Austin so they can score more than have their leading scorer be with 2 goals, and the other 2 big DP signings have 2 goals combined. 6 players, 7 goals for Austin. Robert Taylor is there hopefully to add to that total if you're Nico Estevez. We'll talk to Nico Moreno about that coming up in hour 2. But then just the machinations that are left available. Hey, look what we've got. Personification of the office space in Fort Lauderdale. Look at this. $3.6 million in GAM. What are we going to do? Okay. So, and the Kefsey, yes, Kefsey saying thank you to Xande for his time here. And so, like I said, with the logjam up top, you're probably going to be seeing more of Cayman Togashi and on the wings, and then you'll see probably more of Luke Brennan. And we'll see what happens there going forward. But Xande Silva, locally here in our footprint, the largest piece of news when it came from Transfer Tracker yesterday, as the deadline came to a close. So once again, you've got 3 months to figure it out. And what you want to do with the AM that you have on hand, July 24th is the beginning of the secondary window. It's open for about a month. So you'll be 2/3 of the way through your season. Who do you bring in for the stretch run? Kevin De Bruyne. Just saying. So good morning, David. Morning, Kefsey. Now, other stuff that happened yesterday. And this morning, by the way. 2s won last night. It was 2-1. It was 2-2 going into the shootout. They got the extra point. They get 2 points on the night, knocking off Carolina Core. And their 5-2-2-1 or their 4-2-2-2 formation that is somewhat confusing. They want to clog the middle. They want to work the middle offensively. They want to clog the middle defensively. And for Atlanta United 2, it was a great showing for another academy product. When you have Wesse getting a goal and an assist on the night, fantastic work there. Quick turn for the 2s. Next match for them, Sunday against FC Cincinnati 2 at Northern Kentucky University. Pre-game ahead of time about 1:30. Yes, 1:30, and the kickoff slated for 2 o'clock on Sunday. And that's after the matchup this weekend with Atlanta traveling to Central Florida to take on the Purple team. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that more tomorrow as we have Jason and everybody in the Hour of Chaos, which reminds me, it's breaking news for you, not necessarily for us, but we'll go ahead and BWP is joining us at 10 o'clock tomorrow. Bradley Wright Phillips joining us at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. And so the rundown for tomorrow in a perfect world will be our friends at Beyond Goals Mentoring at 9:30, either Mr. Parkhurst or Mr. Garza. We'll find out what's going on in their world. Greg, if you missed Greg's appearance on Atlanta Soccer Tonight, that is up at the Off the Woodwork section, the podcast section at 92.9 The Game and the Odyssey app. So you get to catch up with Greg there. So that probably means that we get Michael tomorrow and find out about RAFC, find out what he thinks about Atlanta United, how frustrated he is as an Atlanta United alum, and what else is going on, because Centerville Bank Stadium is coming into shape. It's going to be the home of the Major League Rugby Championship game. So there's stuff that's going on with all of that up in Providence, Rhode Island at Rhode Island FC. So 9:30 tomorrow, probably Michael Parkhurst if Greg has made the appearance on Tuesday, unless he's going to make the appearance with us on Friday. Bradley Wright Phillips from MLS 360 and Apple TV, MLS's coverage. He's going to join us at 10 o'clock tomorrow before we get into the rest of the show in the Hour of Chaos to break down everything on the weekend. Jason should be joining us at that point, and probably Jarrett, and probably Maddie, and whomever else wants to join us in that final 40 minutes or so that we have of the week to get you ready for the weekend and the matchup against the Purple team. Thanks to Mike Gramajo, who joined us yesterday from West TV down in Orlando for our opposition research. And you can catch that conversation in audio form on our favorite podcast, on your favorite podcatcher. It's on Spreaker, which is our main provider. But wherever you catch your SDH podcast, you can catch up with Mike Gramajo and get his words on the Purple team and his journey into television, from going from podcast to printed word, and now he's on the TV side of things. And so we got to catch up with Mike Gramajo yesterday. We're catching up with Bradley Wright Phillips tomorrow at 10. So in a perfect world, friends from Beyond Goals Mentoring, if they're not globetrotting, that happens tomorrow at 9:30. BWP joins us at 10, and we preview the weekend going on from there at 10:30. All right. Promos before our buddy Nino Torres joins us at 10 o'clock. Hopefully he's back from the beach, because I got to talk about Boa Vista. I have held one transfer back on purpose, and it's because it is so screwy that it's one that you've got to talk about for the wrong reasons. And it's one particular team that is just driving folks absolutely blank and crazy. And it also appears, according to our buddy Tommy Scoops, Minnesota was finalizing a deal for Julian Gressel. Nothing final, but I don't know where the guideposts are when it comes to something. I don't know if paperwork has to be faxed in or not. So Julian Gressel looks like he might be spending his next time in Minnesota. It's not quite the East, but it's Minnesota. Crew were going to be acquiring forward Ibrahim Aliyu from Houston Dynamo. 6 goals last season for the Dynamo. 9 goals, 5 assists, 66 appearances since joining in 2023. We mentioned Robert Taylor. And the deal that I want to get into is the Robert Brzenic deal from Boa Vista because of the background that's attached to it and just how screwy Boa Vista is as a club. We need the intel and the background, and hopefully our buddy Nino Torres can give it to us in about 10 minutes. So all the other things, let me get the promos in before we start hour number 2. So once again, gives me a chance to check the Kickstarter campaign with our friends from the Marshall Islands Soccer Federation as they're getting closer and closer to having the All or Nothing Kickstarter campaign be a success. 23 days to go, and they are less than $7,000, less than $8,000 away from their target. They're at $18,980, chasing after $26,540. Trying to have the Outrigger Challenge Cup at John Brown University the week of August 14 through 16. That weekend, you'll have the semis on the 14th and the 16th, and you'll have your champion and your third place match, I imagine. That'll be on the 16th. We were planning to be there, and so it'll be interesting. But once again, right now, just under $8,000 left in the Kickstarter campaign for our friends at the Marshall Islands, and they can host the campaign for the Outrigger Challenge Cup at John Brown University. If you are so inclined to join in on the Kickstarter campaign, please do so. The Kickstarter campaign, let me copy and paste the link here really quickly. So once again, if you are so inclined, then you can go here to the Kickstarter campaign posted in the Twitch pitch, but you can go there. Kickstarter campaign for the Marshall Islands, first ever international soccer match, mid-August. That's the Kickstarter campaign. If you want to buy the gear, that helps out too. When you buy the gear, whether it's the jerseys, the bucket hats, the pins, all the things, you get that from England. If you want to buy a scarf that Maddie Cruz is modeling on the page, you get it from me on the other side of this door. Like I said, I got about 10. When those 10 are gone, I've got to order more, and that's always a good thing. But you can get your Marshall Islands scarf from the other side of this door. You place the order in England, you get it from the other side of this door, or if I see you in person. So once again, just under $8,000 left in the Kickstarter campaign, a little over 3 weeks to go. And then hopefully they will have met their mark, and then they can sit there and have their campaign, their first ever competitive soccer match as a national team against Guam, Turks and Caicos, and U.S. Virgin Islands. They're all hopefully converging, and it will end up being a really cool week in Northwest Arkansas with the Marshallese and with the Marshall Islands Soccer Federation. So there you go. Get the scarf from me. There you go. KFC is saying at the risk of there being more nations, should partner with some casino-backed sponsors. And we are going to dispose of desultory sophomore ghee. So let's see. I don't know. It's like they come in waves, meaning the bots. And it's just annoying when they're here because it takes time out of the show where we get to talk to each other and try and figure out, okay, what's going on in your mind? What's going on in your mind? Well, I've got a viewer solicitation bot that I have to take care of. All right, so let me see if I could spell solicitation. Solicitation bot. B-O-T. My fingers aren't big enough to do it all in one hand. So there we go. All right, it's been submitted, and they're blocked. So there you go. Desultory sophomore ghee. Not happening. And so, yes. And so, yeah, might be Abby again. The running gag that Abby is responsible for bringing bots into the chain to be a part of everything. So, all right. Once again, Marshall Islands Soccer Project, the national team, you get the scarf from me, the rest of the gear from them, it ships from England. All right. Also, get your Olive and York jersey. Helps out our Soccer for Good campaign here in 2025. And what you can do there is get your Olive and York jersey. It's a Navy jersey. Ask Abby about personalization or about bots, and then you can get personalized either in white letters and numerals or in the Carolina blue letters and numerals. I apologize for not coming up with a different sky blue for those of you who are ACC and don't like North Carolina or don't like North Carolina on premise. So sky blue, how about that? So you can get your sky blue personalization or your white letters and numerals personalization. You can get that with our friends at Olive and York. You can go to Grady Baby Co. What you can do there is you can get your Soccer's Just Better in Atlanta sweatshirt, and you can get it in a sweatshirt or a T-shirt. You can get it in red or black. Boss can't wear red, so she's commandeered the black one. So you'll see me wear the red one on the air when I can find it, provided she doesn't wear it in public. I've got to figure out where it is. But anyway, Soccer's Just Better in Atlanta sweatshirts and T-shirts from our friends at Grady Baby and Grady Baby Co. You have the SDH lettering on one cuff. You've got the Grady Baby lettering on the other cuff and the logo there. That part of our Soccer for Good campaign here in 2025 has to do with middle school soccer programs attached to the Atlanta public school system. So you're helping grow the game there with your purchase from our friends at Grady Baby and Grady Baby Co. Also, with that taken care of, the chant, be a Fanatico. Becoming a Fanatico, which you can do for $10 a year, is you can sit there and you can be a Fanatico for $10 a year. You get special discounts and you get special conversations. You get to know what's going on with our friends through our Chant app. Right here is for those watching on the video side. You can sit there and check in and be a part of special discounts at a lot of places, a lot of breweries, eateries, and things. And you can also get discounts at the Moxie Hotel. And you can also get a discount if you wanted to go to Chateau Arenal in Costa Rica. I'm not kidding. So Chateau Arenal in Costa Rica, and you can help out our friends there. And so speaking of Kevin De Bruyne, once again from our friends at Transfermarkt, attracting potential interest from Aston Villa, Manchester United, Chelsea, Real Madrid, all are all battling for the signature of Franco Mastantuono, 17-year-old, one of the best young talents in South America, €45 million release clause. Joao Felix faces an uncertain future this summer. AC Milan unwilling to make his loan deal permanent. Portuguese international will not be a part of Chelsea's plans. Been linked with a return to Benfica. Real Betis is also interested. So you've got all of all those things that you can do to help out. It is Olive and York. You can get your SDH jersey. The Chant, you can be a Fanatico for $10 a year. Soccer Down Here. And so, Alex, please consult with Alex as well. I don't know what Alex's personalization is. I don't know if it is white lettering or the sky blue lettering. And so Alex can give you feedback as to if you wish it personalized. I don't have mine personalized. I'm just not a fan of that kind of thing. So if you want to consult with Alex or Abby about personalization and what may look better on the Navy jersey, please feel free to do so. Group.chant.fan/soccer down here. If I could spell /join. And I really can't spell. Wow. I always mix up the O and the W in soccer down here when I'm trying to do something. So there you go. Here's your Fanaticos membership idea. Group.chant.fan/soccer down here /join. You get to help out our Soccer for Good campaign there. When you become a Fanatico, you get all the discounts, you get all the things, and it's really cool stuff that's attached to you there at group.chant.fan/soccer down here /join. Jamie Vardy posted an announcement to all of the media that is social this morning about his leaving Leicester at the end of the year. You'll remember that he also had the Instagram post fairly recently saying that it was an ish show this past season at Leicester. But after 13 seasons, Jamie Vardy is leaving Leicester. And it will be interesting to see what Vardy's next step is. Is it going to be somebody who's maybe a newly promoted side in the Premier League? He says it's not retirement. He's just leaving Leicester at the end of the year. So Villa have held internal discussions about that move for De Bruyne. Leeds are considering sacking Daniel Farke, despite leading them back to the Premier League. 4-letter paper. Liverpool, Real Madrid, Manchester City among those interested in Milos Kerkesh at Bournemouth. That's from Sky. United battling Chelsea and Real Madrid for that signature from Mastantuono, who's at River Plate. 4-letter paper. United facing stiff competition to sign Mateus Cunha. Arsenal, Villa, 5 clubs interested in the forward. Forest and Bayer Leverkusen targeting James McAtee from City. If City move for Morgan Gibbs-White or Florian Wirtz. West Ham has Mohamed Kudus getting interest from Al Nassr. Al Hilal have made a bid of $100 million 75 million pounds for Rafinha, and have offered the 28-year-old Brazil international a 4-year deal worth $200 million. Kudus, his number from Al Nassr, is in that same neighborhood. 100 million pounds, I think, was the number that was attached there. Talks advanced between Barcelona and Hansi Flick over a new contract. Vinicius Jr. is in the final stages of extending his deal with Real Madrid. That comes from our buddy Fabrizio Romano. Arsenal remain hopeful of signing Spain international Martin Zubimendi, despite Real Sociedad's midfielder being linked with a move to Real Madrid. And Leeds could lose Junior Firpo to Real Betis this summer, according to our friends at Todo Fichajes. So that's your gossip, rumor, and innuendo for the morning as we get you ready for what's going on here in and around the planet. So Jamie Vardy says it's not retirement; it's just leaving Leicester. And if you saw the announcement on social media this morning, it's one of those where it's like, here's the deal, and it was a well thought out and loved statement, and so it is leaving Leicester, according to Ben Fisher at The Guardian, not retiring at the age of 38. Once again, central to winning the Premier League in 2016, FA Cup in 21. Signed a 12-month extension last summer after promotion as champions from the Championship, apologizing to the supporters after relegation with 5 matches to go, describing his own season as a total embarrassment. Vardy's story, once again, non-league Fleetwood, £1 million for 2012, joining Leicester. England international, 198 goals, 496 appearances for Leicester. The age of 33, oldest player to win the Golden Boot, 18 league goals as they won promotion, 7 in this campaign. And the long statement on his social media reserved praise for the Band of Brothers for their title-winning season and for his first manager, Nigel Pearson, for enabling him to turn professional, acknowledged his own character. And Leicester visit Wolves on Saturday, 19th, 18 points in 33 matches. They've lost 16 of their last 18. 16 of their last 18 under Ruud van Nistelrooy. And I love how the Guardian, I love how Ben Fisher writes this. They've lost 16 of their past 18 matches under Ruud van Nistelrooy, who is unlikely to lead the club next season. Leicester's chair, Ayawat Srividana Prabha, sorry, extra syllable. Jamie's unique, special player, and even a more special person holds a place in the hearts of everyone connected to Leicester. Certainly has my deepest respect and affection, endlessly grateful for everything he's given to this club. And it will be, like I said, I am interested to find out what the next step for Jamie Vardy is at the age of 38. Is it going to be a club there in the Championship? Is it going to be a newly promoted side? Would it be, say, a Leeds or a Burnley, even though it may not necessarily fit him stylistically? Is it going to be a team at the bottom half of the Premier League, or does Jamie just try and find employ someplace? That's the other question that we have here. So that, for me, is the big run involving Jamie Vardy, what his next step is. Once again, 38, 13 years at Leicester. But what's left in the tank? Would he accept a role off the bench? Those questions that were naturally tied to players who are 38. Morning, Sharif. I have a sneaking suspicion that Nino is still on the beach. But once again, reminder, BWP joining us at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning to break down everything in Major League Soccer. So I guess we should update the app and go Guardian Beta update. And so, no, actually, we do have a posting. So probably joining us very, very soon, considering that he has posted his thoughts. The Revolution have traded Olger Escobar's homegrown priority rights to CF Montreal for up to $175,000 in 2025 GAM, retaining a portion of Escobar's sell-on rights, $175,000 this year, and retaining a portion for the future. Charleston Battery have signed Rubio Rubin. This one was rumored for a while, but Charleston signing Rubio Rubin, that's big. We'll catch up with Kaylor Hodges next Tuesday and find out what else is going on in USL Championship in League One. Rubio Rubin signs for the 2025 roster pending league and federation approval. Extensive experience in America and Europe, previously USMNT. and before switching his allegiance to Guatemala. Starred for RSL 21 to 23, 93 matches for 12-9, and you have three paragraphs from Rubio Rubin, a native of Beaverton, Oregon. And so he's made his one-time switch in 22. You have your quotes from Ben Pierman. And so returning to North America, San Diego Loyal, and reuniting with former RSL teammate Douglas Martinez, wearing the number 14, available for Saturday's USL Jägermeister Cup match at FC. And remember, Jägermeister Cup is now up and running as well. It is that time. It is that time to find out how it was for the man at the beach, because he sent the photo of the man and the boss at the beach. And so we're going to go and check in with Nino Torres, because, as always, yellow, yellow, yellow.
Yellow, yellow, yellow. Soccer Down Here fans. I'm back. Nino is back. After a couple of days at the beach, Eastern was awesome. And I'm sorry again that I forgot. I was like, what? What's going on? Oh, Jesus, man. I was on the beach. And I was just woke up like 9:30. Was like, what is going on? I'm not gonna do something today. Oh crap, Johnny, man! I sent you a message. I'm back, man. I'm back, fully loaded
as always. So I haven't seen your list, but because I wanted to lead off with a particular club and the transaction that wasn't, the trade that wasn't yesterday in Major League Soccer. It was the end of the primary transfer window. And so for like the last week, RSL had a deal to sign Slovakian international forward Robert Boženík from Boa Vista. It is off. I know that the entire world is shocked. The clubs verbally agreed to terms a week ago. Then, after Boženík traveled to America to complete the move, Boa Vista tried to change the terms. With around 8 hours left before the window closes, the deal wasn't going to happen unless Boa Vista finalized the deal with previously agreed to terms. Sources doubted the clubs are going to reverse course. RSL did not, according to Tom Bogert, did not want to jump through hoops with Boa Vista and will have the flexibility to bring him in as a DP this summer if they want. So what in the blue hell is going on at Boa Vista again, and why are they even allowed to breathe as a franchise?
I don't know how they stay alive. I just have no idea how they do it. Based on this, it's decisions after bad decision after bad decisions, and the finance department it's been in red like forever. And now they got this deal that they're supposed to make it, but they're not gonna make it. It's just everything is bad in that club. Everything is bad in that club. And but for some reason they pull up 2 wins in the last 3 games. So I don't know if they're gonna stay alive. Probably this is the last time. That we're gonna see Boa Vista, because this is it's every year, Johnny. It's every day, every year. Boa Vista's at the bottom, and they miraculously they saved in the last month of the competition. But I don't think it's gonna happen this year. I think that they well deserve to be relegated, and hopefully my boy Bobby Bazooka Bosinic gets to score a few goals for Boa Vista before he leaves to the MLS in the summer, man.
What does he bring to the table? What does Boženík bring to the table as a player?
It's a true 9. It's an absolute true 9. It has a lot of mobility, but as many strikers, he needs to be fed a lot. This is his ratio conversion is not that high, but if he's hot, I mean he can deliver. But as a being hot probably most part of the season. He started hot in the first half, but then this is complicated, Johnny. If you don't get paid, if you don't get paid, you don't perform well. I mean, it is what it is. Hopefully, he gets to a franchise so he gets stable. He gets his check every week, and maybe we'll see a different boss finish. But I think if he gets in the right environment, he can be productive. He can bring some numbers to the MLS that they're gonna be significant.
All right. I know that you like to sport the gear. You're wearing it for those that might be taking a look. They're kind of trying to see what you're wearing. There it is. There's the U, the man with the U. Now we're going to talk Libertadores. Our buddy Howard Hamilton over at Soccer Metrics, he has a Copa Libertadores show that he brings up here on the network, and he talks about everything. So please, sir, if you would elaborate on topic number 1 on your list. The most epic day in Copa Libertadores for Peru, if you would, please, sir.
In 55 years, we won only once in Ecuador. We won that night. Alianza Lima and Universitario de Deportes never won in the same day, and they did. Alianza Lima, for 21 years, listen to this, 21 years that they didn't win at home in Copa Libertadores, and they did. But it wasn't just like that, right? It was just not they won. No, Alianza Lima was winning 2-0. Paulo Guerrero with a brace, 41 years old striker. And the game was going fantastic, right? Oh, we got 2-0. We are on fire. Penalty. 2-1.
Mm-hmm.
2 minutes after, boom, the equalizer from Girotti, who, by the way, that was his first goal from the run of play in 6 months. In 6 months. The guy didn't score at all for Talleres, and suddenly, okay, I'm going to score against Alianza. I'm going to ruin their party. Right after that goal, red card to Zambrano. And Alianza Lima was falling apart. It was like everything was going fantastic. And then what in the world? We're doing this again. Everyone, I was including myself right now. These guys, how could they mess it up again? How could they mess it up again? Because that's the story of Alianza. They got the lead. They played fantastic. In the second half, last 20 minutes of the show, they fall apart. And I was like, oh, this is another episode. Here we go again. They're not going to win. They're going to ruin the 97th minute. 30 seconds left on the clock. Another striker, 40-year-old striker for Alianza Lima, Hernan Barcos, gets the control and finishes it. Oh, my God. 30 seconds left. I wish I could call that game in. I wish I would have called that game in. I mean, 3-2, epic comeback. And it was just, brother, it's so hard for us to win in Copa Libertadores. It's so hard. For Peruvian clubs, it's a monumental task to get positive results in the Copa Libertadores, and we got it done. But then, after that game, Universitario was playing. And all the Alianza fans were like, Universitario, they're playing away in Ecuador. Oh, they're not going to win. No, they're not going to win. We are the biggest ones of Peru. And my team showed up at the Monumental in Guayaquil, and we got it 1-0 in the first half. But we played, this is the most solid performance that I've seen from Universitario de Deportes in years in Copa Libertadores. We dominate Barcelona. We dominated Barcelona at their turf. We got the lead. We hold it. It could have been 2-0 easily. And we hold on Barcelona. And we got these 2 players that have been asking all season long, since the beginning of the season. We got Jairo Concha and Jairo Vélez. Right? I was like, please put these 2 guys together. Please put these 2 guys together. And everyone was talking to me. No, those guys together, they don't work. They don't work. They run the show, brother. They run the show in Guayaquil, and Universitario de Deportes is alive in this tournament. It's alive now. We got 3 points. In the first 3 points, we got no points coming into this game. And now we got 2 home games back to back. If we win those 2, I'm just praying for this, Johnny, because we haven't advanced into the knockout stage since 2011.
Wow.
Since 2011, no Peruvian team advanced to the knockout stage in the Copa Libertadores, and we got the chance to advance two. And not only that, on top of that, we won. Alianza won, Universidad won, Melgar de Arequipa was also playing Copa, and they also won 3 victories for Peruvian teams in the same day. Never ever in the history of the Copa we had that. We never had that, brother. And we got it in one day, all in one day. I was like, I couldn't sleep that night. I think I went to bed like freaking 3 a.m. or something, man.
Well, so let me ask you this. Is it possible for our buddies at your friends at Universidad de Deportes, is it possible for you to advance and we get to continue to see Sir Second Castle on the sidelines to advance? Is there a possibility where we can continue to see him as well?
If it's our team or their team.
Okay.
It's not because it's either Barcelona or Universidad. I don't think they both are going to advance because they're going to leave. If that happens, River Plate and Independiente del Valle, no, not happening. And by the way, I lost the chance. I didn't see how it ended. I left them 2-2 last night, and I don't know what was the outcome. Johnny, you got the 2-2. Oh, 2-2. Mm-hmm. I got a party last night. I was like, crap, I don't want to leave this game here, and I'm going to go. But, it was 2-2. So that's, look at that. Mm-hmm. River Plate 5 points. Independiente and Barcelona 4. And Universidad 3 points. Anything could happen in this group. Anything. Yep. And hopefully it goes well for us.
Yeah. The reason I ask is because for those that have not been able to see,
you gotta see it, man.
The man. Can you carry some of that wardrobe? Can you wear what Sir Second Castle wears on a daily basis on the touchline?
I think I come up with something like that. Yeah. Let's do this, Johnny. Right? If Barcelona advance, if we beat Barcelona again,
okay,
I want to wear a suit in the next show.
Oh, dress up from the desk up, brother. That's all you got to do.
Yeah.
See, and the thing is that he has an amazing first touch as well in those suits. He does not mess around. And so he is a requested viewing. Go back on all your social media. Look up Sir Second Castle and how he comes out styling and profiling, looking only as he can look. And he carries that if there was ever a run for the ages, and Barcelona made it to like a final or something in that tournament, could you imagine if he's dressing like this in the group stage? Could you imagine what he's going to look like if they made it deep into a tournament and deep?
No, he's going to come up with maybe a golden suit or something, man. Maybe something like that.
Top hat, tails, and a cane for Sir Second Castle that deep into a tournament. Absolutely true. That's our buddy Nino Torres coming in fully loaded as he always does from his work at GOLTV. Recommended viewing, and you can get that at Fanatis, ftz.co/soccer down here. You get our buddy Nino Torres at GOLTV. You get all the BNs, Nuestro Telecidio, For the Fans, Teise, Tigo, Liga 1 Max Pro, all the above, but you want to focus on that guy right there. All right. Topic number 2. Harry Potter is Portuguese and plays for Porto. What are you talking about?
That's it. That is Rodrigo Mora, guys. If you haven't heard about this guy, you need to look it up, Google it, whatever you got to do. Rodrigo Mora, please. Yamin who? This is Rodrigo Mora, baby. This is the best next thing in Portugal. 17 years old, 165 pounds. He doesn't know how to shave yet, but he can play ball. He can play ball. Seriously, he can play ball. And then when the head coach relies on a 17-year-old to lead the offense for one of the biggest clubs in Portugal, he's special. And the kid is the second best striker for Porto with 7 tallies this season. But that's not the number. That's not the number that I want you to look up. He leads the offense, Johnny. He carries the team on his shoulders at his age. Okay, and this is the only positive outcome for Porto this season. Everything else is a mess. Nobody else plays well. No, only Rodrigo Mora, and he's been on fire in the last 4 5 games for Porto. And you know what's crazy is that at that age, right? You wanted to do everything fast. You're gonna go fast. I'm gonna get first. I'm gonna be the first one to do this, to do that. No. This guy, I said this on the broadcast the other day because he scored in back-to-back weeks massive goals. He makes time to make time for his plays. He tells the time, hey, you know what? Your seconds are kind of too short. Let me stretch him out the seconds for me because I gotta finish this plays. And he is so calm, so collected. The decision-making process for this guy is for a 30-year-old player. That's what we're talking about here. And of course, his magical touches, his tricks and everything, his magic, right? But his presence of mind, it is just ridiculous, man, ridiculous. And it's magical to see him play. Hopefully you get to see him soon, guys. Hopefully.
Standings right now, it's the chaos that we pictured. 4 matches to go. And it is Sporting and Benfica, only 4 goals separating them. They're tied at 72 points. Benfica has one more win, but Sporting right now on top because of goal difference at plus 53. Braga right now in third, and that's 9 points separating 4 matches to go there at 63. And then the rush for 3 and 4. Right now, Braga and Porto at 3 and 4, 63 and 62. And then it's everybody else for yourself. And since you mentioned Boavista, AFS is at 24. Boavista is at 21. Farense is at 21. Now, explain the promotion relegation situation, because is it like Germany where you have the playoff for the team that finishes
third to last?
Yeah, so third to last is the play-in for the crossover.
Yes, exactly. Yes, 2 going straight back to the second division, and the third to last is the one who plays with the third place from the second division.
There's a test on this in math later on. This weekend, you've got matches going on. You mentioned Porto. Porto is a minus 189 at Estrela, and that is Saturday at 3:30. What matches are you calling this week?
I was going to check on that right now. Actually, I got the Porto game. I got River played versus Danube on Saturday. What do we have? We got Benfica. And we got Universitario, Sunday night soccer on GOLTV. Oh, yes, baby, yes. I'm so pumped when I got my team on the schedule, man. I'm so happy, brother.
What's it like calling your team on GOLTV?
It's, it's funny, right? Because the producers that are in Uruguay, like, Nino, you're playing your team. We're gonna turn the volume up now, brother. We're gonna turn the volume up because you got crazy when your team plays, and it's so special, man. It's so special to call the goals for your team, And I feel so blessed to get to do that. And especially now because in Peru right now, the broadcasting company, they got a deal, and they got these play-by-play announcers that they're fans of Alianza Lima, right? That, like, the entire crew is fan of Alianza. The commentator, the play-by-play, the silent reporter, like, come on, brother, give me. And you know what? It's not because I'm from Universitario. No, this is in general, all right?
Yeah.
Brother, you can be that one-sided. You can be just rooting for your team and just completely ignore what happens with the other team. No, I get excited for my team. Yes, I scored the goals, but also if the other team scores, I'm going equally at the same level. I gotta go on the same level. I cannot just like, this all Universitario and nothing for the other team. No. And but these guys are just so. It's awful, man. It's awful. It's not like it, brother. This is not your team's channel. You're playing for the league's channel. It's not the team channels. If you play for a team channel, okay, do whatever you want. All Alianza, who cares about the other teams? But if you're playing for you broadcasting for national TV, just please be. Come on, you cannot be. Just take your shirt off for a second, brother. Take your shirt off for a second, right? Yeah.
As long as there's not a camera in the room, take your shirt off for a second. That's great. Last topic you've got on the board has to do with the incredible renaissance in all caps of Liverpool in Uruguay, and I had to look this one up. First 12 matches on the board in league, the number of losses they have, 0.
Unbelievable, man. And this is a team. All right, this is what happens in Uruguay. Okay, every time that there's a team not named Peñarol or Nacional that wins any of the tournaments, Apertura, Intermedio, or Clausura, because in Uruguay they played 3 tournaments in 1 year. Sure. 3 tournaments in 1 year. It's the only country in the planet that plays 3 tournaments in 1 year. And but Liverpool won the championship, so they won Apertura and Clausura, and they won the final game in 2023. So at the end of that season, of course, hey, I need your goalie, I need your striker, I need your coach. Like, they just dismantle teams. Every single time happens. And that's why last year Liverpool was almost dead last the entire year.
Wow.
But because of the relegation system in Uruguay, it gets the numbers from the season before they were saved. You know, it's crazy, right? It's kind of like they got the tennis system into the soccer system where you play 3 tournaments. It's so complicated, Uruguay, in terms of organization. But anyway, it was a disaster last year, and this year they got a new coach. They got some signings, and they were not spectacular, but they were playing all together. They got 1 win. I was like, all right, they win 1. Oh, nice. 2, 3, 4. Oh, wait a second. What's going on with Liverpool here? You know? And they're yet to lose. And that game that they play against Plaza Colonia, who was one of the other, the Plaza Colonia came back from the 2nd division. And that was the key game of the Apertura, because they were toe-to-toe, and then they beat Plaza, and I don't think anybody's going to take Liverpool in the last 3 games of the Apertura. They're going to win the Apertura. Hopefully they win the championship, because Nacional and Peñarol, they are on they're soft. They suck this year. You know, they're not, after the massive performance in Copa Libertadores last year, Peñarol went back to the old self that they just got the name. That's all they got. You know, they just got the name. They don't have the players, the team. They got nothing. Same with Nacional. They're playing with their names only.
Man. All right. So here's the juice boxes in Portugal before we get out of here. Just to let everybody know. Braga's a plus 116 on the road tomorrow. Santa Clara minus 104 at home against Aruca. Gil Vicente favored at a plus 131 against Farense. Porto minus 189 on the road at Estrela. Moreirense plus 119 hosting Nacional. Benfica a minus 1250 against AFS, who's a plus 2240. Draws a plus 967. Vitória Guimarães a minus 185 against Rio Ave at a plus 470. Boa Vista a plus 1085 hosting Sporting at a minus 435. And Casapia is a plus 104 hosting Estoril at a plus 269.
How much is the Benfica game, Johnny?
Benfica is plus minus 1250. AFS is a plus 2240. Your draw is a plus 967.
Plus 9. Huh? Interesting. I think I'm gonna maybe drop a couple of coins in that draw.
Ooh.
And yeah, because it's the ABS. They're fighting to avoid relegation big time. And the Boa Vista plays Sporting. Right? Yeah. That game, but Sporting is gonna destroy Boa Vista, no question. Mm-hmm. But the other game, the Benfica game, I have my doubts in that one.
Okay, so we'll keep an eye on goal difference as we hit the home stretch here in the season. As always, my friend, great to see you. It'll be great to hear your voice and see you calling matches this weekend on GOLTV. Much love as always to everybody at that end of the planet, and love the work in the back behind you there in the office. That piece of a piece of work. I'm glad it got there, and it's a part of your family down there. Love you, my friend. We'll catch up with you next week.
Yeah, thank you, Johnny. See you next time, guys.
All right, there goes Nino, and it's always, like I said, it's always great to catch up with Nino to get the perspectives as we kind of tour the planet here on Thursdays and see what's going on. But yeah, just once again, glad he got to spend time at the beach. He sent the picture. I'm not going to show you the picture, but it was a fun picture. Man's having fun at the beach. He's entitled after all the running around he does, calling 19 matches in a weekend. Yeah, if you get time to go to the beach, go to the beach. But no, he was having fun, and I'm just hoping that he had the SPF out, SPF 9 gazillion, because that's what it looked like that he needed out there. No? Okay. All right. You see, he's watching the prologue in the green room, so he's letting me know what's going on. But look, SPF 100, for me, I got to take the SPF 100, put it in my fingers, and I sit there and I rub it into my hair. I don't wear hats, because you know how hats get all nasty and everything, and then you got to wash them, and then the hat kind of dies, and you wonder, it's like, man, I want that hat. So I literally take SPF whatever, and I rub it in my head, and that's what I do to make sure that I don't get sunburned. And trust me, I got to rub a lot. I got to rub a lot in there just to see what's going on. But no, it's great to catch up with. It's great to catch up with him, because then that way, once again, we can sit there and we can look at everything going on around the planet. Portugal, South America, Libertadores, individual leagues, all of it. Choice D, all the above. And I had to get in to talk about Boa Vista, considering that once again, they're messing things up. We talked about the Reggie Cannon saga and how Reggie Cannon, now that he's back here playing in Major League Soccer out in Colorado, how Reggie Cannon had to pay Boa Vista. Boa Vista took him to court. It's like, you dumped out of your contract. Well, you ain't paying me. Well, we're taking you to court. And Boa Vista won in court. FIFA's like, no, Reggie Cannon, you got to pay because you dumped out of the contract. But they're not paying me, but you still got to pay. That's how, legitimately, I think that's what Boa Vista does. Literally, if they make it so frustrating for players that they want to jet, then they sit there and they scream breach, and they take them to court. But he left early. Well, you ain't paying it, but he left early. And you get the right judge. You get what happened with Reggie Cannon, where Reggie Cannon had to pay like $1.5 million after getting out of his deal. And they messed up this deal with Bojanic and RSL. So it's like, look, and that's why I wanted to bring that up, bat and lead off, because it tied into MLS transfers with the mess up with Bojanic. It's the third time in a row that they've done it. And when Tom Bogert over at Gimme Sport was like, yeah, things might get a little dicey because Boa Vista is kind of squawking at the price. Now, I have this vision. You know how I have these visions where, the folks in the Boa Vista front office, I don't think they have their little glass encased conference room. It's probably like, some kind of a, by the hour joint down at the corner. It's like, you too can have a secretary on an hourly wage, and she'll answer your phone, and she'll send. That's what I think Boa Vista has. But anyway, Boa Vista goes into this conference room that's probably the size of, your average bathroom, because that's what they can afford. And they go in, it's like, okay, so how can we stay afloat? Oh, okay, so we got this deal with Bojanic. All right, so here's what we're going to do. All right, so we've agreed to this number. And this is Actors Playhouse with me. This is Boa Vista Actors Playhouse. How we presume things are going here if this was to be a Saturday Night Live sketch. So Boa Vista agrees to a deal with RSL at X amount of dollars. And RSL's like, okay, cool. Bojanic flies over to Utah. Yeah, okay, everything's cool, everything's great. We're going to, we'll sign, we'll do the scarf and all of that. Boa Vista on the phone. Excuse us. What currency were we talking about here? Well, it was dollars. Well, no, what if it was euros? And I'm guessing because the exchange rate is probably better one way or the other. So whichever one that RSL was like, no, American dollars. And Boa Vista's like, euros, not American dollars. just to kind of gum up the works for the 19th time in a row in a deal. I'm exaggerating, but you get my point. Same thing happened. Well, with Reggie Cannon, you ain't getting paid. Bajenik, you've got a transfer on the table. You've agreed to terms, and then Boavista's like, what currency again? What currency are we talking? And that screws up the whole thing. After Bajenik flies overseas to nail the deal down, all I'm hoping is that Bajenik, because I'm guaranteeing you, but Boavista didn't pay for the flight. I'm hoping that Bajenik put it on his credit card so he's got a receipt. So he can probably at this point he's going to have to write it off on his taxes as a business expense because Boavista, sure as you know what, sure as shooting, they're not going to sit there and go, yeah, we're not going to pay for that because that wasn't a team expense. Boavista, saying Boavista is a dumpster fire is insulting to dumpsters. Legitimately. They are insulting to dumpsters and calling themselves a dumpster fire. If Boavista knocks on your door, treat it like Jason in Friday the 13th and run the other way. You know, he comes through the door, knock on the door. Excuse me, who is this? Boavista. Sorry, we're not home. Third time in a row involving talent that we can count that Boavista has gummed up the works and had a deal that was supposed to be locked in place, and then it wasn't locked in place. This time it's over the what currency was it again? What were we saying? Oh, no. We can't do that. Western Union doesn't allow for us to do that or whatever. I would love to know what this conversation is like. So if anybody is in, if anybody knows anybody in the RSL front office that could sit there and say, here's what the deal was like, then this is what the deal was like. And so once again, we go from Peru to Seattle to wrap things up here on Thursday Thoughts. And we go catch up with our buddy Niko Moreno. And Niko, since it is bright and blank and early for you, good morning. How are you? What cup of coffee are you on? Oh, side lighting this morning.
Now, a little bit of side like that. I forgot to close the blinds, but it's a nice sunny day, as you can see, in the city of Seattle. This cup number 2 of coffee, and maybe the sun has something to do with a whole new perspective on the team from the fan base. A huge win against Nashville City, so the city of Seattle is feeling good, and so am I with the same cup of coffee.
No doubt about it. We were discussing transfer deadline day, and our buddy Nino Torres, who covers and calls the matches in Portugal for GOLTV. I asked him about Bajenik as a talent, and I went through Boavista as a franchise, where Boavista, for the third deal in a row involving any kind of logic, was just like, what currency? What? No, sorry, we can't do that. Western Union won't allow us to do it. So the Bajenik deal is off. After dude flies over, it's like Boavista agrees to a deal, and they've got the number, and then Bajenik flies over to get the deal done. Imagine you hold up the scarf, and then it's like Boavista's like, what currency what did we say? No, we can't do that. Like I said, I'm guessing it's like something in it's something involving Western Union or the banks or whatever. We can't do that. No. So Bajenik, I imagine he is pissed beyond belief that he thought he had a deal. And for Boavista, who screwed up the Reggie Cannon contract and got money from Reggie because he jetted, because he wasn't getting paid, now you've got an angry 9 who's coming back to you. And welcome to the end of transfer deadline day, number 1 for Major League Soccer. But lesson here, if Boavista calls, don't answer the phone. Look at your caller ID. If it's Boavista, sit there and go, we don't want any, and hang up the phone.
Yeah, they've had a ton of issues, and that's why, the whole currency thing, it just seems like a whole other mirror on a whole bunch of issues that club has had by not paying the amount to clubs for other players. The Reggie Cannon thing is one. I believe Elise was another one that they had a whole bunch of issues with. This team just seems to create an issue, and it might even be a loophole where they feel like they can get certain players and not have to pay them. It's sickening that there is a organization that's run in that manner, you're absolutely right. If they're calling your club for a player, regardless of that number, just hang up, man.
Don't do it. So we talked about transfer deadline day on the deals that actually did make it through, not involving in hour number one. Obviously the deal that stood out to all of us was the Robert Taylor deal, where he goes from Messi and Friends to Austin to, oh my God, I hope you help us out. I could see Niko Estevez there at the airport in Austin at Bergstrom International, waiting for Robert Taylor to sit there and go, please help us with our offense. We've spent all this money and we're going to throw more money at the problem. But Robert Taylor, I think, is probably the marquee deal here at the wire as we push through and have the primary transfer window close. What deals stuck out to you?
Sean De Silva to San Luis City. Yep. I thought that Sean De Silva, regardless of maybe not being as consistent as Atlanta thought he could be, he is a player that can straight up ball in certain moments, and he gives San Luis City a player that can be dangerous in the one-on-one, that can get to the end line, that can provide some good services into their whether it's Joao Klaus or whatever designation they have at that 9 position. I think he'll work well with Betcher and Toucher and all of these offensive weapons that San Luis can have. Sometimes the best thing for a player like Sean De Silva that does have the talent level is a change of scenery, and I think that he'll get that in San Luis. So I thought that one, for the price specifically, was the deal that stood out there at the end, of course, of the deadline.
And I will be interested to see how Shande works with the defensive demands that you have in St. Louis. I mean, we know what he's capable of offensively, but there's going to be some running that you're going to have to put in there in St. Louis, and I'm just wondering, how many, what it's going to be like for Shande to double back defensively as much as he is requested or required by Olaf Melberg there, with what you're going to see there in the Midwest.
Yeah, no, and that's a fair question. I thought that is the same question that at times I ask about. Oh my goodness, why is it escaping me?
I don't know why.
The other Brazilian. Oh my goodness. Anyways, it does happen often. Therefore, the wing play at San Luis City, and it's something that he might have to figure out. Like I said, I do like the price tag for it, right? It's 100,000 in GAM, so it's not a lot there for San Luis City. And when we are this close to the end line, and you're able to pick up a player that could be a difference changer at that price tag, I mean, it's always a good thing.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And so you have all of this first round of moves. And I was also mentioning that I don't know, it might just be me, but you get more AM heading to Messi and Friends. You're now up to, I think, 3.6 million, and they might be chasing after one dude in particular. Hey, you want 3.5 million in AM come the end of the Club World Cup? You want to come and visit and sign a 2.5-year deal and be a really expensive instructor for a U12 team down on South Florida? I'm just saying, it just kind of hung out there for me a little bit. I'm just thinking,
Celio Pompeo. It was driving me crazy. I'm so sorry. That's what I was talking about.
Yeah, Celio Pompeo. All right. So in the week that was, and I know that Seattle getting goals on the board, I know that everybody kind of holstered their pitchforks and tiki torches for at least a day when it came to the offensive output. What's the vibe been like in the Pacific Northwest coming out of last week and heading into this week?
It's a great way to put it. I love it. And, all those people that were criticizing the front office, now they're praising it. I mean, it's just the way of the world, I guess. But look, this is what we've been saying, right? This team has a whole bunch of talent. Now, had it kind of come to fruition in the way that it did against Nashville? No. Was it difficult to try to figure out where each player is going to be? Absolutely. But if Seattle is healthy, they're going to have some champagne problems, because in this Nashville game, in 15 to 20 minutes, Seattle closed out the game. And when it came to the ability to repress and create counterattacks and play in transition in the way they did, in their ability to be able to expose the flanks. You get two of your DPs, if you will, your young DP in Pedro de la Vega that looks lights out, that was influential, that was exciting on the ball, that just looks to have passes that other players won't be able to make or not even try. I mean, that ball to Ferreira, he threads the needle for that third goal. Ferreira gets it, he turns, puts the ball to Paul Rothrock, and Rothrock puts it away. I mean, every single sequence of three of those goals had something important to talk about. The depth component too, there was in display for everyone. Kim Ki-hee comes in, he looks great. He looked solid. He was experienced. Brian Smetzer said he did not set a foot wrong on the field, just talking about the way that he just plays a little bit simpler, perhaps, but at the same time doesn't make any mistakes. I thought it was interesting hearing, I believe it was Stefan Fry talk about how the simplicity in Kim's game is it's kind of cool to see because we're in a point in soccer where we want center backs to do all of these other things and we want them to get forward and make these crazy passes. But when you have a player that can just defend and be that old school defender, that's all I'm doing. I'm gonna play simple. I'm gonna defend. It's always nice to have. So Stephen Fry praising Kim Ki-hee as well this week. And let's not forget about Masovsky. He was a guy that was being scrutinized, that I myself did not think that he belonged on the field with the Seattle Sounders. I'll admit that right here in front of anyone. I don't mind that at all. But he, 2 goals in a row, nice little back heel flick there. I love the resource. I love the creativity. I love the confidence. So a lot of good things for Seattle coming out of that Nashville game. But all in all, it was just about 3 points, 3 points well deserved against a good team. And that is more than I think anyone thought going into that game.
Well, and I mean, if you look at the back line, and I know that folks will look at that back line, I figure with the crazy that you get from Nuhu and Yamar that you're going to need somebody like Kim Ki-hee to kind of calm things down. And I would think that Stefan Fry would probably, the first person that he would probably go and hug on a match-by-match basis, if you're not giving up a whole lot of opportunities, is Kim Ki-hee, because he's the calm dude when you got all the chaos. Look, if you're Kim Ki-hee and you're Stefan Fry, you look to your left and you got Yamar. You got Nuhu on your right, and Nuhu is, let's say, Nuhu's like the Gordie Howe hat trick of Major League Soccer. Goal, yellow card, assist, and or nasty challenge that starts a fight. So to have that calm in the middle in front of you, if you're Stefan Fry, I figured the first person you're hugging is Kim Ki-hee.
Yeah, and I think you're absolutely right, because Nuhu did look a little bit more audacious than he has in the past. I mean, there's a play where in his own third, he tries to juke Ewell, and he does, actually. He breaks his ankles to be fair to Nuhu, but in the moment, I'm thinking, what are you doing back there? But, he gets away with it. He gets forward. He actually had a pretty good game overall. Brian Spencer talked about him having 12 not so good minutes, but after that, he looked pretty good. But you're right, having that calmness, having that experience, having that guy that he's going to take no chances, and that quite honestly was physically exciting. I mean, he was coming to every ball. He gave Mukhtar a nice little shiner just because it felt like it needed to be given. I just thought he was very good. So does Jackson Reagan have something to worry about? He's out 4 to 6 weeks. Perhaps that's the way Brian kind of put it. He said he should make guys nervous. I still think that Jackson Reagan gives you a lot more of what you need with this specific formation. If you go back to a 4-man back line, then maybe, right? I think Kim and Yamar could coexist wonderfully. But on this 3-man backline, although defensively he did well, offensively you need a little bit more from the center defender and that 3-man backline.
All right. So before we get into the rest of Major League Soccer, we have CONCACAF Hemispheric Extravaganza. We had the 2 teams going at it last night from Liga MX. Tonight, Messi's on the plane, Messi's on the plane, Messi's on the plane, and it's Vancouver. What are you foreseeing since we've had leg one with the all Liga MX side, and now you're going to have leg one coming up with Vancouver and Messi and friends tonight.
After watching the Tigres Cruz Azul game, I think MLS has a very good chance of picking up that trophy, whether it's Vancouver, whether it's Inter Miami. I thought that Cruz Azul game against Tigres was it looked like a week one type of game. I mean, it was sloppy, it was physical, but it was very imprecise. It didn't really get exciting until about the 60th minute and beyond. Cruz Azul should have won that game. They controlled the tempo of the game. They controlled the possession of the ball. They had a couple of chances, although not great. And then they get the first goal. Rotondi being Rotondi, just right place, right time, puts it away. And they should have been able to hold on to that game, but Tigres don't give up in a set piece. I don't know what happened to Cruz Azul. The whole back line fell asleep and they were watching the ball, and they get a 1-1 equalizer. But now Cruz Azul with the away goal, we'll see how that plays out. But again, I didn't think either team looked amazing. And when I look at Inter Miami and I look at Vancouver, I see two teams that in their own way are very dominant. And I'm excited to watch a Vancouver game tonight, which sounds surreal. I mean, I can't remember the last time I really thought about that, but it does. I thought Sorensen was great in the press conference, not taking away the importance of the game. He said, look, it's not, because a lot of coaches will go to the cliche of it's just another game. Sorensen went the other way. He said, look, this is not just another game for Vancouver, right? It's a semifinal. It's against, Inter Miami. It's a big game. And I like that. You kind of put it out there for everybody to see. You kind of hide in plain sight. I love it, man. So I think that Vancouver, being as good as they've been, understanding how they're willing to attack, I think they can give Inter Miami some issues. Because look, that Columbus game that we just had in MLS play, that went Inter Miami's way because Columbus couldn't finish. But that doesn't mean they shouldn't have not finished. So in Brian White's great form, in the way that Vita's playing, in the way that Rios is playing, I could see Vancouver going out with the win at home and making it really difficult for Inter Miami. We have a whole bunch of question marks, like you said. Does Luis Suarez play? Will Messi play in turf, although he's played in turf before? How is that going to play out? Can they be better defensively? Can they control the game? Mascherano talked about wanting to possess the ball a little bit more. Can you do it effectively? Man, I think it's anybody's game, but I do feel deep somewhere here that Vancouver might get the win away. I mean, at home, and then figure out the second leg later.
Plus 119 for Vancouver at home. They are favored. Messi and friends are a plus 210, and your draw in this first leg is a plus 258.
Ooh, that draw looks interesting, but I'm not touching it at all. I feel like that one can go either way. But yeah, I really do feel like Vancouver could win this game.
All right, so let's take a peek at what happened last week and the other matchups to get us ready for what's going to happen here in match week, either 8, 9, or 10, depending on which team you're talking about. The Gulls decided to save themselves until your time in the Western Conference. And Kansas City and San Jose just decided to dump the table. Literally, it's just like, we're going to crash the car, and we don't care what happens. 8 goals by the time they were done. Kansas City 5-3 final. Portland and LAFC. On Monday, we talked about how Steve Cherundolo ends up apparently getting a card for dissent, and Phil Neville in his post-match press conference going, I don't know why, but, the refs decided, and I'm paraphrasing, that the refs decided to make themselves the center of attention in that match. Portland and LAFC was a 6-goal thriller. Houston and Colorado, it was a 2-2 draw. Cincinnati came back and beat Chicago 3-2. Charlotte over San Diego. I think San Diego's finally realizing how tough it's going to be to play on the road, especially when you're in the Eastern Conference. What stuck out to you from last week from the other matchups outside of Seattle?
Look, I'm just going to go ahead and name this one because we hit that 4.5 mark that we talked about in Portland and LAFC. And I actually didn't go with Portland as I intended. I just played the goals, and that was a good win for me there in that 3-3 thriller. I thought that one was interesting, too, as the way it developed. Look, Portland puts LAFC against the ropes. LAFC is able to come back. Giroud has the best game of his MLS career in this one, not just because of the goal, but I thought that he was good on link-up play. He saw the field better. He was in good positions. He seemed more involved in the offensive plan. La Perla Martinez, also a very good game in this one. But Portland is interesting, man. And that 3-3 was fair as it was. And Steve must have called the referee all sorts of names to get that red card because the referee thinks about it. He feels like he's going to take a yellow out, and he just gives him the red. So that's going to be interesting on how that plays out. We talked enough about Steve and the way he's kind of come about this one. So maybe they won't miss him next game. The other one that I thought was interesting was that San Jose game, not because of the scoreline necessarily, but because Sporting Kansas City seems to be a team that if Manu Garcia can stay on, if a lot of those offensive weapons that they have can continue to progress, maybe they get a little bit of a run and maybe they get into that playoff picture. So I got my eye on them specifically. And then although not a Western Conference two-team matchup, but San Diego, they get the doors blown out by Charlotte. They did not look good. It was not just the red card. It was a Charlotte team that just seemed to know exactly how to play this San Diego team and maybe lays out a blueprint to the rest of the Western Conference on how you play that San Diego team that had been so dominant.
All right, time to play cliffhanger. And as it always is, we actually have 4 matches on Sunday. It's not the chaos that we had last week where they wanted to avoid Easter Sunday completely and pushed everything to Saturday. So we'll run it down. If there's one that you want to talk about, just jump in and start talking. FC Cincinnati minus 159 hosting Sporting. Toronto at home. Oh, okay.
Are we good?
No, yeah. Hit. What's on your mind? Go for it.
I don't know. I was just thinking.
All right. Toronto is a plus 150 hosting NYC north of the border. Red Bulls minus 123 hosting CF Montreal. Philadelphia minus 139. We got a lot of home favorites this week. Philly hosting DC United at a minus 139. Purple team hosting Atlanta United at a minus 133. We can stop there, and you want to hit that one?
Oh, absolutely, man. That's going to be a big one for me. Look, this one can go either way because they've kind of traded shots in their last few matchups, both of these teams. I think Orlando is in a serious scoring drought where 3 consecutive games without scoring, back-to-back games with red cards. They seem to struggle within their own. They have good, talented players, a lot like Atlanta, but they can't seem to score. And Atlanta, they seem to be able to score most times, but then they shoot themselves in the foot defensively. So this could go either way. What is the draw in this one?
Plus 277.
And Atlanta to win?
Plus 358.
Oh, wow. Woo. Quite honestly, I do kind of lean towards the draw there. But looking at the way both teams kind of match up against each other, I think Atlanta United can be able to provide some damage to it. So although the 300 does seem interesting, I'm going to stick with the draw. I think this is going to be a very evenly matched game. I think that even if Orlando starts winning this game early because of the woes that Atlanta does kind of have, Atlanta can bounce back and can attack this Orlando City team. So let's go with the draw. And what about the compos on the goals?
All right, so let's find out your goals here. Purple team and Atlanta United. I'm guessing low number considering
that's what I'm guessing.
Orlando is having scoring issues, not having scored in a month. Plus 1.5 is a minus 625. 2.5 is a minus 182. So if you're thinking 1-0 goalless draw, get this. Goalless draw is a minus 3750 if you're that brave.
Ooh.
Considering
I don't think I'm that brave. I think a 1-1 draw is what I will go for, but the numbers want to validate it. So I'll just stick to the draw and leave it right there. But that's going to be a game to watch for sure.
All right, so once again, this is a week of the home favorite, and so we'll keep breaking them down here. Charlotte minus 133 hosting the Revs. Crew a minus 200 hosting San Jose. Maybe a goals total there if you're that brave. Right now, San Jose is a plus 462. San Diego back home is a minus 132 hosting RSL. Copa Tejas, Houston, a plus 108 hosting Austin FC, who's a plus 2.5, considering they can't score any goals. Nashville and Chicago Fire. Nashville's a minus 115. Chicago on the road is a plus 315. Then the year game, Colorado, a plus 164. And get this, the Juice Boxers have thrown a blanket on this one. They don't even know. Both teams in the composite are a plus 164.
Wow. I see why, right? Zach Steffen's out for this one because apparently he got a second yellow after the whistle. The Sounders have, question marks of their own. Colorado's been interesting offensively. I really do think that they are a team that can do a lot of damage, and I think that they could provide some issues for the Seattle Sounders. Both Bassett and Mihalovic's just ability to move in and out. Josh Atencio returning to Seattle is a huge motivation there for Josh, who has been fantastic for Colorado, or at least he's been a player that, to me, is one of their main outlets coming out of the back. He's been an every game starter. That's going to be interesting. But I really do feel like going into this game, Colorado, although similar to the way that Nashville played offensively, on defense, the high press could create some issues for the Seattle Sounders. But I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to stick with the Seattle Sounders' good momentum. I think that they'll pull off the win against Colorado. What's the goals here on this one?
All right, so let's check the goals. By the way, the 90-minute draw is a plus 229. So let's check the goals on the totals here. Over, under, Colorado and San Jose. 1.5 a minus 337. 2.5 a minus 104. 3.5 is a plus 235. That's your change.
Yeah, no, they're killing me there. I would have taken that 2.5, but I would take the Seattle Sounders. Obviously, not necessarily putting juice boxes in this one because he might not be worth my money, but I think the Seattle Sounders do win this one. But since I didn't take this one, what about Real Salt Lake on the road? I thought that one just happened to strike me as interesting. Maybe we can go with that one.
Plus 329. Okay.
I don't know. Maybe. Look, RSL's interesting, man, specifically going into a game on the road where San Diego has had struggles of their own. But that one I'm going to have to just kind of think about a little bit more going into this one. But we'll go ahead and leave it at that. I don't think that there's enough for me to necessarily call it right now. I don't want anybody calling me later and trying to sue SDHs for any juices that they're spending. But I don't know. That won't call my name. So to be determined.
All right. So, yeah. And by the way, this is for information purposes only. Understand?
That is right.
Sunday, Vancouver and Messi and friends, they get the extra day. So at 3:00 Eastern, Vancouver travels to Minnesota. Minnesota's a minus 101. Vancouver's a plus 275. 5:00, Messi and friends hosting FC Dallas at a minus 192. FC Dallas is a plus 463. 7:00, Sunday night soccer. LAFC hosting All Caps at a minus 182. St. Louis City SC is a plus 466. And late night, Galaxy and Timbers. LAG favored at a minus 114, Portland a plus 265.
LA Galaxy's favor, man, that's a good one. Look, I hate to say this, but first of all, what's the draw in St. Louis? Real quick.
Okay, draw on All Caps is a plus 318.
Lock it up for me, that one. St. Louis. is a team that could absolutely limit what LAFC does well. I think that they can definitely inflict some pain into the issues that LAFC has shown consistently. I think this will be a low-scoring game for sure, but give me the draw on that one. I've been looking at that one all week long. I think that that's a lock for me. And then Portland, give me. I don't need to see it the same way I didn't need to see it against LAFC, but give me the 3.5 and give me Portland in that LA Galaxy Portland game. Sadly, I wonder if that could mean if that could mean Vanny's position, because that would be a pretty tough loss. But I do feel like Portland in this one, with 2.5 at the very least, I would take.
2.5 a minus 183.5 is a plus 138. What's going on with you and Pulso Sports, Sounder at Heart, and your treks up to the Providence and Swedish Bouncy and Funhouse?
Yes, sir. Obviously, everything that has been said around the week. We talked to Stephen Fry. We talked to Brian Smetzer about what it's looking like there at Providence Clubhouse and Center of Performance. Because there is definitely a positional battle. So that's interesting. Go ahead and check that out. He talks about how there's going to be a lot of players fighting for the same positions. Christian Roldan, also on Pulso Sports, talking about his old friend Josh Atencio and him coming in, and they've been talking to him, and he's probably going to want to show that he should have been here still, although he's in a very good position. So that's going to be interesting. And of course, on Friday, we're going to have, as always, our What We Learned This Week with Jeremiah Shan. He's finally back from Mexico, so that should be a good one. We'll talk a little bit about Nashville. We'll talk about the week that was, talk about Ryan Kent as well, who had his debut with the Seattle Sounders. It was a good debut, but where does he fit? How many minutes is he going to get? Georgie Manungu, he's a guy that a lot of the fans have wondered about. We're going to talk about what his future could look like, so don't miss it in the Sounder at Heart podcast network. What we learned this week with Niko and Jeremiah. And of course, on Monday, the kickoff, as always, with Ari in Love and Scorchers as well.
Lobbing the water balloons at Providence and Swedish version of Chuck E. Cheese. As always, my friend, great to see you. Thanks for all the intel and the info. We will catch up with you next week. Enjoy your cup of coffee in the Rave Green mug. We'll catch up with you next time.
Have a good one.
There you go. There goes Niko. And he's taking the big gulp out of the big old mug for the Rave Green. All right. So once again, reminder, top of the hour, it is Soccer's in Session presented by our friends at Kaiser Permanente. And we get to hear from Brian Lawson, the head coach at Jeff Davis, Heather Richardson, the head coach on the girls' side at Social Circle, and at 12:45, Jeremy Moore at Tombs. We'll go over the results from yesterday. We'll go over the matchups today, as once again, we are still in day 3 of round 1. Tonight, 6 o'clock kick a little before. We'll be on a little before in Watkinsville, Johnson, Gainesville, and Oconee County. I'll have the call for that one for you across the network, and then we'll be back at it tomorrow at 9:05. Hopefully catch up with our friends at Beyond Goals Mentoring at 9:30. And BWP, Bradley Wright Phillips, joining us at 10 o'clock tomorrow to break down what his thoughts are at the quarter pole and what it's like working with Kevin Egan. We'll get into that as well. So that's the rundown for tomorrow. And then obviously the rest of the hour of chaos from 10 to 11. We'll go through the previews. Fully anticipate Maddie, Jarrett, and Jason joining us to break everything down after the BWP visit at 10:20. So the last 45 minutes we'll get into weekend whip around and get you prepped for Atlanta and the Purple Team. Go back and listen to the interview that we had with Mike Gramajo from West TV down in Orlando to get your intel on the Purple Team. And then we'll give you the intel from a very, very busy week for Atlanta United. Obviously, the Shandy Silva trade to St. Louis City. A part of that, how does that affect what's going to be happening up top for Atlanta United? What has it been like today at training? We'll get into all those details coming up tomorrow after BWP joins us at 10 o'clock. So once again, back at it in 51 minutes. We're going to talk high school, day 3, round 1, GHSA playoffs, visits from around the state from a lot of our coaching friends. And then we'll be back at it again tonight, a little before 6 o'clock, as Johnson Gainesville travels to Watkinsville to take on Oconee County. Once again, Twos get a big 2 points yesterday for their matchup, winning in the penalty kick shootout against Carolina Core. So it was a big win in the sense of the shootout for Atlanta United. and you'll hear from Steve Cook, and you'll hear from folks in the pregame show Sunday afternoon, getting you ready for Atlanta United and FC Cincinnati 2, 1:30 pregame, 2 o'clock kick here on the network at soccerdownhere.mixler.com, on the Mixler app, and at soccerdownhere.net. Go to the listen tab, click it, and when we have something live, you'll get a big flashing light. And you sit there and you go, oh, that's where it is. You hit that and you go, now I'm going to listen to some soccer here on the SDH network. Eastern Conference, after what happened with Atlanta last night, they are now at 7 points on the year through 6 matches, and they are in a logjam for 9, 10, and 11. But since they have only the one win, that is why they are in 11th currently, with the one win on the board and Messi and Friends 2 having the better goal difference on TFC 2. TFC 2, by the way, 7 matches, they've only scored 3 goals. But great performance by Atlanta United 2. We'll get into that possibly tomorrow as well, leading into the weekend as they travel to FC Cincinnati. And we get to catch up with Steve Cook in 24 hours and 20 minutes to have your pre-match sound for the matchup with Atlanta United 2 and FC Cincinnati 2. As always, thanks to Niko, thanks to Nino, and thanks to you for coming through here on a very, very busy Thursday. Once again, tomorrow, hopefully our friends from Beyond Goals, either Mr. Parkhurst or Mr. Garza, Bradley Wright Phillips joining us at 10 o'clock. We can whip around after that. We'll get you through and get you ready for the weekend. Cast the Thousands joining us in the hour of chaos as possible. So for everybody here at SGH, thanks for dropping by. Mucho platiel, play it safe. And since it's the end of the show, that means I get to do this. Back at it in 49 minutes, where we go Soccer's in Session, presented by our friends at Kaiser Permanente. Day 3 of the playoffs in the GHSA. See you in a bit.